After reopening the file we created last week of PineHill music, we opened the teacher table. We went up to the design view and made sure all the field names were here, that the data type was text except for the hire date, which is our short date of date and time, and we also added a beginners section with a yes/no checkbox option to see if the teacher takes beginning students. We next saved the file, came back to datasheet view, and selected which teachers take the beginners with the checkbox. This was then saved and closed. The next step was to import from Access the student, which was done through Music, and Student, as can be seen here. Birth date with the date and time format, and a gender as well. I went through all of these field names and changed the field size and the caption. I then switched that the last name came after the first name by simply moving it. This was then saved and closed. I reopened the same student table, inserted Sam and Andrea's contact information. I then imported from a text file. This was done by going to External Data, Text File, selecting the file, in this case the student, and appending to the student table. Once the data was imported, I resized the columns for the best fit. Once in the design view, I was able to see everything in alphabetical order based on the student ID. The student ID was set as the primary key. The file was again saved and closed. The next step was to create a new table, as can be seen here, that's the contract table. In the design view, you have the contract, student ID, teacher ID, start and end date, as well as the lesson type, length, cost, and the cost of renting an instrument. Once again, the field properties were changed for all of the various field names. Using the spreadsheet wizard, I imported an Excel document, lessons. I appended it to the end of the contract table. In this case, I'm not going to do it as I've already completed this task. Datasheet view, you can then see how all of the contacts have now been imported. The additional contracts were added as necessary. The columns were resized to the best fit. This table was then saved and closed. The next step was to add the relationships. In this case, for the student to contract, it was based on the student ID, and the teacher to contract tables based on the teacher ID. This was closed, and the file once again was compacted and repaired. By setting up the relationship, it helps Access to prevent redundant data that is imported between different tables and different books.